Before we start, make sure to like and subscribe for more educational English videos like this one. Advanced English Reading Passage C1-C2 level. In an era characterized by rapid technological advancement and unprecedented global interconnectedness, the nature of human identity is undergoing a profound transformation. No longer confined to geographical boundaries or rigid cultural frameworks, individuals today are increasingly constructing multifaceted identities that reflect a blend of local traditions and global influences. This phenomenon, while liberating in many respects, also presents a complex array of challenges that demand careful consideration. One of the most significant drivers of this transformation is the digital landscape. Social media platforms, virtual communities, and instant communication tools have enabled people to interact across continents with remarkable ease. As a result, exposure to diverse perspectives has become the norm rather than the exception. While this fosters empathy and cross-cultural understanding, it can also lead to a sense of fragmentation, as individuals struggle to reconcile conflicting values and expectations. Moreover, the fluidity of modern identity raises important questions about authenticity. In a world where curated online personas often take precedence over genuine self-expression, the distinction between reality and representation becomes increasingly blurred. Individuals may feel compelled to conform to idealized standards, sacrificing their unique characteristics in pursuit of validation. This dynamic not only impacts personal well-being but also influences societal norms, perpetuating cycles of comparison and dissatisfaction. Education systems, too, are grappling with these shifts. Traditional models, which often emphasize standardized knowledge and linear career paths, are gradually being replaced by more holistic approaches that prioritize critical thinking, adaptability, and lifelong learning. The ability to navigate ambiguity and synthesize information from diverse sources is now considered essential. Consequently, learners are encouraged to develop not only intellectual competence but also emotional resilience and cultural awareness. Despite these challenges, the evolving nature of identity also offers remarkable opportunities. The blending of cultures can lead to innovative forms of expression in art, literature, and science. Collaborative efforts across borders have the potential to address global issues such as climate change, public health crises, and economic inequality. In this sense, the interconnected world can serve as a catalyst for collective progress, provided that individuals and institutions are willing to engage thoughtfully and responsibly. However, it would be overly simplistic to view globalization as an inherently positive force. Power imbalances persist, and not all voices are equally represented in global discourse. The dominance of certain languages, ideologies, and economic systems can marginalize alternative perspectives, leading to a homogenization of culture. Preserving diversity while embracing interconnectedness is therefore a delicate balancing act that requires intentional effort. Ultimately, the question is not whether identity will continue to evolve, it undoubtedly will, but how individuals and societies choose to navigate this evolution. Will people prioritize authenticity over conformity? Will institutions adapt to support diverse ways of thinking and being? And perhaps most importantly, can humanity cultivate a sense of shared responsibility without erasing the richness of individual experience? These questions do not lend themselves to easy answers. Yet, engaging with them is essential for fostering a future that is both inclusive and sustainable. By embracing complexity rather than resisting it, individuals may find not only a deeper understanding of themselves but also a more meaningful connection to the world around them.
The concept of time, though universally acknowledged, remains one of the most elusive and paradoxical aspects of human experience. It governs every dimension of existence, from biological rhythms to societal structures, yet its true nature continues to provoke debate among philosophers, scientists, and psychologists alike. While time is often perceived as a linear progression from past to present to future, this seemingly intuitive understanding conceals a far more intricate reality from a scientific standpoint. Time is not as absolute as it once appeared. The groundbreaking work of Albert Einstein fundamentally altered humanity's perception by demonstrating that time is relative and can vary depending on speed and gravitational forces. According to the theory of relativity, time can slow down or speed up, challenging the notion of a universal clock that ticks uniformly for all observers. This revelation not only transformed physics, but also introduced a sense of uncertainty into what was previously considered a stable dimension, odd in contrast to the scientific perspective. The psychological experience of time is deeply subjective. Moments of joy often seem fleeting, while periods of discomfort or anticipation can feel interminable. This discrepancy highlights the role of perception in shaping reality. Cognitive processes, emotional states, and even cultural background can influence how individuals interpret the passage of time. For instance, societies that emphasize productivity and efficiency may foster a heightened awareness of time as a limited resource, whereas more contemplative cultures might encourage a slower, more reflective approach to daily life. The tension between objective measurement and subjective experience raises important questions about how time should be valued. In modern economies, time is frequently commodified, translated into units of labor, deadlines, and financial worth. The phrase "time is money" encapsulates a mindset in which efficiency is prioritized above all else. While this perspective has driven innovation and economic growth, it has also contributed to widespread stress and a diminished capacity for mindfulness. People may find themselves constantly preoccupied with the future, neglecting the present moment in pursuit of long-term goals. Technological advancements have further complicated this relationship. The rise of digital devices and instant communication has created an environment in which immediacy is expected. Waiting, once an inevitable part of life, is now often perceived as an inconvenience. This shift has altered not only how tasks are performed, but also how patience and attention are cultivated. The constant influx of information can fragment focus, making it increasingly difficult to engage deeply with a single activity over an extended period. Yet, paradoxically, technology also offers tools for reclaiming control over time. Applications designed for meditation, time management, and digital detoxification reflect a growing awareness of the need to balance connectivity with intentional disengagement. Individuals are beginning to question whether the acceleration of life truly equates to progress, or whether it undermines the quality of human experience. Philosophically, time invites contemplation about existence itself. If the past is immutable and the future uncertain, the present emerges as the only tangible reality. This idea, echoed in various philosophical traditions, suggests that meaning is not found in the accumulation of moments, but in the depth with which they are experienced. However, embracing this perspective requires a conscious effort to resist external pressures that prioritize constant activity over introspection. In conclusion, time is far more than a simple metric by which events are ordered. It is a dynamic and multifaceted construct that intersects with science, psychology, culture, and philosophy. Understanding its complexities can lead to a more nuanced appreciation of life, encouraging individuals to navigate their existence with greater awareness and intention. Rather than viewing time as an adversary to be managed, it may be more fruitful to see it as a medium through which meaningful experiences unfold.
In an era defined by relentless technological advancement and unprecedented global interconnectivity, the nature of human experience is undergoing a profound transformation. What once required physical presence, sustained attention, and temporal patience is now often condensed into instantaneous digital interactions. While this evolution has undoubtedly facilitated efficiency and broadened access to information, it has also given rise to a series of subtle, yet significant challenges that merit careful consideration. One of the most striking consequences of this shift is the gradual erosion of deep focus. The modern individual is frequently subjected to a constant influx of notifications, updates, and stimuli, each competing for attention. As a result, the capacity to engage in sustained, uninterrupted thought has become increasingly rare. This phenomenon does not merely affect productivity, it also shapes the quality of our intellectual and creative output. Complex ideas, by their very nature, require time and mental space to develop. Without these conditions, thinking risks becoming fragmented, superficial, and reactive rather than deliberate and insightful. Moreover, the digital landscape has redefined the concept of identity. In online environments, individuals curate representations of themselves that may or may not align with their authentic experiences. While this can serve as a means of self-expression, it can also create a dissonance between one's internal reality and external presentation. Over time, maintaining such a divide can lead to a sense of detachment or even existential uncertainty. As individuals grapple with questions about who they truly are beyond their constructed personas, another dimension worth exploring is the impact of globalization on cultural perception. The rapid exchange of ideas and values across borders has fostered greater understanding in some respects, yet it has also contributed to the homogenization of cultural expressions. Unique traditions and local identities risk being overshadowed by dominant global narratives, often driven by economic and technological power centers. Preserving cultural diversity in such a context requires intentional effort and a recognition of its intrinsic value. Despite these challenges, it would be reductive to view technological progress solely through a critical lens. The same tools that fragment attention can also be harnessed to cultivate knowledge, creativity, and meaningful connections. Digital platforms enable collaboration across continents, provide educational opportunities to underserved communities, and amplify voices that might otherwise remain unheard. The key lies not in rejecting technology, but in developing a more conscious and disciplined approach to its use. Ultimately, the responsibility rests with individuals and societies to navigate this complex landscape with awareness and intentionality. By fostering habits that prioritize depth over immediacy, authenticity over performance, and diversity over uniformity, it is possible to mitigate the adverse effects of our digital age while still benefiting from its remarkable potential. The challenge is not merely to adapt to change, but to shape it in a way that aligns with enduring human values.
In contemporary society, the intersection of technological innovation, cultural evolution, and individual psychology has created a dynamic environment in which traditional boundaries are increasingly blurred. The rapid acceleration of change, particularly in the digital sphere, has not only transformed the way people communicate and work, but has also reshaped fundamental perceptions of time, identity, and meaning. While such developments are often celebrated as indicators of progress, they also introduce complexities that demand nuanced reflection and critical engagement. At the core of this transformation, the reconfiguration of time itself. Historically, time was experienced as a relatively linear and predictable construct, structured by natural cycles and social conventions. Today, however, digital technologies have compressed temporal boundaries, fostering an always-on culture in which the distinction between work and leisure is progressively diminishing. Individuals are frequently expected to respond to messages, complete tasks, and remain accessible regardless of traditional temporal constraints. This perpetual connectivity can generate a sense of urgency that undermines the ability to rest, reflect, and engage in meaningful long-term thinking. Closely linked to this phenomenon is the evolution of human relationships. While digital platforms have made it easier than ever to establish and maintain connections across vast distances, the depth and authenticity of these interactions are often called into question. Virtual communication, by its nature, lacks many of the subtle cues present in face-to-face encounters, such as tone, body language, and immediate emotional feedback. Consequently, misunderstandings may arise more easily, and relationships can become more fragile or transactional. At the same time, individuals may find themselves surrounded by a wide network of acquaintances while still experiencing a profound sense of isolation. Furthermore, the concept of knowledge has undergone a significant shift. In the past, knowledge was often associated with the accumulation of information and the mastery of specific domains. In the digital age, however, information is abundant and readily accessible, which challenges traditional notions of expertise. The ability to critically evaluate sources, synthesize diverse perspectives, and apply knowledge in context has become far more valuable than mere memorization. This transition necessitates a rethinking of educational systems, which must adapt to prepare individuals for a world in which adaptability and critical thinking are paramount. Another critical aspect to consider is the ethical dimension of technological development. Innovations in fields such as artificial intelligence, data analytics, and biotechnology hold immense potential to improve human life. However, they also raise complex ethical questions regarding privacy, autonomy, and equity. For instance, the collection and utilization of personal data can enhance user experiences and enable more efficient services. Yet it also poses risks related to surveillance and the erosion of individual freedoms. Addressing these challenges requires not only regulatory frameworks, but also a collective commitment to ethical responsibility. In addition to these societal implications, there are profound psychological consequences associated with living in a hyper-connected world. The constant exposure to curated representations of others' lives can foster unrealistic expectations and contribute to feelings of inadequacy or dissatisfaction. Moreover, the pressure to remain constantly engaged can lead to cognitive overload, reducing the capacity for introspection and emotional regulation. Developing resilience in such an environment involves cultivating mindfulness, setting boundaries, and prioritizing mental well-being. Despite the multifaceted challenges outlined above, it is essential to acknowledge the transformative potential of the current era. Technological advancements have facilitated unprecedented levels of collaboration, enabling individuals from diverse backgrounds to work together toward common goals. Innovations in medicine, education, and environmental science offer promising solutions to some of the most pressing issues facing humanity. The digital age, therefore, should not be viewed solely as a source of disruption, but also as a platform for innovation and positive change. Ultimately, navigating this complex landscape requires a balanced and informed approach. Individuals must develop the capacity to engage with technology in a way that enhances, rather than diminishes, their quality of life. This involves not only technical proficiency, but also ethical awareness, emotional intelligence, and cultural sensitivity. Societies, in turn, must foster environments that support these competencies, ensuring that progress is aligned with broader human values. In conclusion, the contemporary world presents both remarkable opportunities and significant challenges. The interplay between technology, culture, and human behavior is reshaping the fabric of daily life in ways that are still unfolding. By approaching these changes with critical awareness and intentionality, it is possible to harness their benefits while mitigating their risks. The task ahead is not merely to adapt passively to an evolving reality, but to actively participate in shaping a future that is both innovative and humane.